up whatsoever.
None.
Now, I'll let you speak to what's going into that data center and the competition potentially between the likes of Broadcom and NVIDIA and others. But the idea that there has been some sort of a pullback from those that are building the data centers, no. No way. Not, and in fact, I don't have, OpenAI, I mean, they are just, you've seen this information story. I know how you feel about that. But what I can tell you is there is no diminution in the spending they are planning for the foreseeable future, nor anyone else, at least based on the conversations I have with those who are negotiating to find the capital to put the data center in place, which, by the way, oftentimes is not actually the hyperscaler or the OpenAI. No. They're simply the tenant.
Right, like MCore.
So it's not CapEx for them, it's OpEx.
The MCore, the company was added on Friday. You look at it, that's a data center play with a small healthcare business. I don't know. I feel that there is a cessation of the theory of how much you can do with AI, and a lot of that has to be, first of all, take a look at what happened to Salesforce last week. They've got this AI initiative that lays off 4,000 people. Well, wait a second. How is that good for? Can you therefore bring up AI? We're going to have Adobe this week, and in a way that can make you a lot of money. Maybe not. Maybe it can't be monetized. And then I come back and I say, like what I asked the chief economic advisor, Hasser, what do we think about the idea that job creation may be stunted by AI? And he said that, well, his 2 kids can get a job.
So every 2 weeks, the Census Bureau polls about 1 million companies, and they say, in the past 2 weeks, have you used an AI tool to provide a good or a service? Apollo tracks that over the weekend. There's the chart. It's rolled over. Now, we don't know if that's, could be, I don't know, seasonal affectation.
Well, we're going to get to Tesla. But if you go back, I think that Jensen Huang would say, look, these are all good, but until we get reasoning, you're not going to use it. And then once we get reasoning, it's going to go to autonomous. We do have autonomous truck driving right now. It's going to go to autonomous, and it's going to be robots, and those are the real uses. That's a very telling thing.
Is it, though? Is it really telling? I don't think it tells you anything. I'm sorry.
What, that it's curved?
Yeah, I don't. It's too early. I don't.
It's too early, but David, okay, I'm going to give you something that I think is the most important
definitive
thing that no one's talking about. It's a lawsuit between OpenAI and the New York Times about whether you can steal the intellectual property. Yeah. And I've looked at the lawsuit, and it looks like all they do is steal the New York Times.
That may be true. It has absolutely nothing to do with that chart we just put up.
No, but
but do you think the chart was legit 6 months ago?
No, I can't. I don't think you can put. I don't know. I don't think these charts are indicative of anything in terms of what I'm hearing from the enterprise. There's no doubt that ultimately it's going to be embraced.
This is not about the build-out. Continues.
This is not going to change the ultimate view of corporate America that this is a tool we have to use.
Yes, but
now, will it happen over 6 months, as quickly as, or the next year and a half? I don't know, Carl.
It doesn't have reasoning. Doesn't have reasoning, and the mistakes are so great that I would never use it if I were in a real serious job.
Well, you have to check it without a doubt in some ways. But you're also talking about different types of things and information jobs.
You know Brian Cox says you're not serious people?
Yes, I remember that.
I don't think if you use these, you're a serious person.
That's ridiculous.
No, yeah.
That's ridiculous.
I referenced it last week in a piece I was doing with my nephew.
Fine, so you check it.
And he took it out. He said, how many have you used? I said 3. Well, how about 6? It is so inaccurate, it's painful. It's painful.
Okay.
What? Use it.
I just agreed with you. I said okay.
It can summarize the preamble of the Constitution.
By the way, that's not really going on in the enterprise very often. But okay, yeah.
Go ahead, be a lawyer and use it. Bye. Bye-bye.
Take a look at the pre-market on this very busy Monday morning. We'll get you to some news in media, Siri and Paramount, Tesla, got some consolidation in financials, UNH and Apple in a minute.
Card for a free quote.
I know that.
It's going to be a light earnings calendar this week. We'll get Kroger and Adobe and Chewy and GameStop and Oracle, which, by the way, tops the S&P gainers this morning. We'll get to some of the movers, UNH there with an affirmation of the annual guide. We'll get Cramer's Mad Dash and countdown to the opening bell after a break.
Subscriptions.
Let's get to the first Mad Dash of the week. Of course, we also have an opening bell about 7 minutes from now. What do you got?
Well, you know, David, I've been struggling with this idea of stocks, which ones go up. Something that's old school, comes in after the Mets Phillies in terms of the hierarchy. And David, there's one that reports this very evening. It's called Casey's General. 2,900 stores all over the country. 2,900, 29. David, they have a breakfast pizza that you wouldn't believe. I've had it, and if we had a Casey's General, which we do not, I would do a radical pivot away from the Egg McMuffin to the breakfast pizza. These guys have put up great number after great number after great number, and I think they're going to do it again. Now, I don't like the fact that it's up this much, but I did push it pretty hard on Friday. I really think this is a great one, and it's look, they don't like to be where people are in Wall Street. So I think that the people the intersection of analysts and Casey's General about as small of any $18 billion stock there is. And don't forget, David Costin starting to talk about small cap. The small cap 18?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have David today?
Do I have what?
Do you have David Costin this afternoon?
I don't believe we have him on the program today. No.
It's a very provocative piece about the broadening out, the broadening down. If you want a broadening out, broadening down, look no further than Casey's General Store.
All right.
Yes.
I like it. I like it. A new name here for the Mad Dash.
Yes.
We got an opening bell just a few minutes away. And don't forget, you can catch us anytime, anywhere. Listen to and follow the Squawk on the Street Opening Bell podcast.
Shares of Kenvue stabilizing in the pre-market after Friday's more than 9% drop. That decline in reaction to this report that stated HHS Secretary Kennedy plans to issue a report linking the use of Tylenol by pregnant women to autism. Kenvue says it continues to believe there is no causal link between the use of acetaminophen during pregnancy and autism. It definitely moved the name, though, Friday, Jim.
Yeah, look, I think there's a Daubert decision, December 2023, U.S. States District Court of Southern District. It was definitive. saying that this is just not a theory worth pursuing. They threw it out. I don't know how you bring it back after that. The door is widely accepted by everybody, including plaintiffs' lawyers. David, it's December 25th, 2023. How do you get around Daubert if you're going to do this?
I don't know how you do. Marty McCary, who runs the FDA, said there's the report's not written. There's nothing really to report. We're still in discussions. Tylenol obviously is a very important product for Kenvue. It's number 2 product. I have talked about the name oftentimes in part because it has been under fire for management misexecution.
Morning, everybody. It's Chris with ORBTraders.com. Market is now open. We are breaking 800s on the ES, and 65 got tagged just before 6508s. See if that holds or breaks down. If the ES actually breaks down, there's fib targets below prior day lows. You got to cross the close of last Friday, the overnight open of Sunday, multiple fib levels before you hit those fib targets. So we will see. Both ES and NQ have gaps below 64.88 1/4 on the ES, 675 half on the NQ. We just took out some highs from Asia and London. Not full closes yet, but some price action did go up there right at the open. So we'll see if we trend lower now that we've hit those highs. We've been retracing a lot of the move from last Friday's sell-off. There was a very large 30-minute fair value gap that was retraced overnight for the majority. So we'll see if we can keep going up or if now we're just going to sell off. I'm going to sit and wait for 15 minutes of range to form, look for an entry once we get 15 minutes into the market. Our tick opened up in positive territory. Got our VIX also now reporting. So we'll just wait and see. We're only 2 minutes in. I'm never in a position 2 minutes into the open. Or I should say very rarely, maybe 1% of the time. So I'm just going to sit, wait, and watch. We'll play some of the news. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the chat. What are you guys trading today? What do you want to see more of? I'm really just focusing on the NQ. I'll be streaming on the mic at least until 8:30. So it's 1 hour into the open for me, Mountain Standard Time. And then after that, I'll be jumping off. Good luck today, everybody.
Strategies for tariffs, and they argue that pricing power is now number 1. It's overtaken supply chain diversification.
Well, my work on Costco indicates.
I'll also call out my trades as we get into those entries, and I'll pull them up afterwards.
And they've been adamant. Time to lower price. If you want to be in our big box store, you know, David, they don't have a lot of SKUs.
No.
They can, Cheetos, look out. Cheetos, you keep raising the price? Well, you know what? We'll do the same distillation under Kirkland, and apparently selling very well.
Is it?
Yes, very well.
Indicative of a weakening consumer in some way, or no?
A smarter consumer is what I've been saying. I think that the consumer has kind of figured out, wait a second. The way we impress people these days is to not buy Lulu, is to buy the Costco equivalent. Now, Costco, there's an infringement suit.
There's some more room on that poor structure above 821 1/4 before we do a full retracement of that. If you go ahead and look back on the 1 day 30 minute, you'll see I might be retracing up to that point right now.
Retailers, TD Cowen goes to outperform
So the low of this white candle here is 821.75.
There's a lot of turmoil in the furniture industry, especially
821.75.
David, I don't know, the RH invitation.
Just mark that out.
To the Paris opening.
I did not.
Oh,
I did not.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's 821s now. We just tagged them.
Take that back.
Yeah, I don't get a lot of those invites.
See if we can actually stay above that,
I don't make a lot of those lists.
It was a Gatsby-like party.
or if we're just retracing that.
Gatsby Light.
Yeah, I think it was West Egg. But
I see.
5 minutes in the open. If you're playing the 5-minute orb, there's your 5 minutes.
I bring it up not to just chastise you for not being invited, or actually just try it. But I think
We take a look at the volatility measurements. They are trending down from their open. Again, we're only 5 minutes into the open though. Try your best to not jump into any FOMO trades just because you see price moving. Price is going to be moving all week.
We may get shorter term rates. We are going to get a Fed cut. What is it, next week? Of 25 at least. But that said, the longer end of the curve is not necessarily going to reflect that because of what you were just talking about. So you're concerned
I'd like to see what the predictive market. I haven't checked the predictive market.
and fiscal.
And I mentioned that because did you see this Robinhood increase? By added to the S&P, and that thing is on.
We'll see if the bulls can hold this 20 level. 820s would be their level to hold now.
I'll come back to the earlier conversation.
If we hold that, we could easily go up to 900s.
I mean, go ask their CEO how much AI is coding for them.
That's AI. That's
Right?
big.
I'm sorry.
Looks like a pretty nice 5-minute breaker there.
Employees, they have an
If you
incredible
are in the longs,
got margins continue to move up.
we've got positive numbers on the tick. We just got actually one printed below the zero line. So it's pretty natural to fade from wherever you open up to the zero line. I may actually jump in a little bit before the 15-minute orb just to get us to extend up to the 900s. Wouldn't be a terrible play here. See if we can grab a little bit in that. Looks like we got one contract filled. Oh, that was really quick, but that was an in and out 40 tick stop loss, 40 tick take profit is what I set all my brackets to. So got one trade in, very quick. Again, normally I'm waiting for the 15 minutes, but sometimes you got to go where the money is going. As long as things are lining up, and I felt comfortable seeing that the VIX is dropping. I feel comfortable with the tick mostly above zero. And looking at the ADD and the VOLD, we're above zeros. This is right now might be the area where we start shorting, but looking at the equities right now, most are green other than Tesla. You can pull that chart up also and just take a peek. Everything is trending up towards the top of their opening range. Russell, as usual, doing its own damn thing, trending lower. So we'll just keep on watching here. This might be the area where we start fading. Well, it's going to depend on who is going to win this battle on that fair value gap in the 820s. See if we can stay above it. If we don't stay above it, I think the bears might bring us back down into the gap fill from yesterday. Friday. That's down at 670s. And remember the ES, if you're trading the ES, it's still holding that fib short zone from Friday's high to low. Targets, again, those are well below the prior day lows. So I would be keeping my eye on the 6508s, if those are going to hold or not. And as of right now, they do not look like they are holding for support, for resistance for sure. Russell continues to sell off along with the Dow. The ES and the NQ may just be lagging here and eventually catch up to the sellers. 136 on the tick. We are right at 23,800. Let's see if we can actually hold this, or we're going to sell back off and continue what we did on Friday. Well above the Asia and London session highs, though. So we've already taken those out. I know there's a lot of players out there that are looking to sell once those liquidity levels get taken, but I would be looking over here. I'm actually going to bring this up to 30 on the ES, and we're going to bring up the volume filter to 20. We'll go 15 on the NQ, just to try to filter out some of the noise, just looking for bigger orders. Already did another 20-point bounce on the NQ. We are 10 minutes in now. Range is pretty tight on the ES, pretty standard, 10 points, 10.5 points. NQ. Let's see here. Yeah, 10.5 points there. 771 is the low to 849. That was about 80 points. Just pull up the 15-minute chart to make it exact. So just looking to see what the total range is. Looks like 80.25. I've got the indicator up here, but sometimes that indicator can be off. Like on the 15-minute for the ES. Let's go back to the 15-minute here. So 77.25 is what Thinkorswim is reporting. I'm just too lazy to do the math right now. Let's put your mouse over this. Yeah, 77.25. So the low is 23.771s and 3/4. The high is 849s. We are 10 points away from the highs on the NQ. Again, wondering if we're going to hold this 20 level or if we're going to break down. Keep an eye on the orders and the equities and the overall market. So Russell and Dow still selling off. They have not stopped. So mixed bag today. Advance declining is now below 0. Just a heads up on that. We're still pretty much in chop land on the Vold. And 2 minutes out for the opening range, 15-minute to be set. So we got one little scalp in. We'll just stay patient and wait here. Bulls are doing a decent job so far holding the 20s. See if the rest of the market catches up to the NQ. Let's go ahead and just look at our equities one more time. NVIDIA is about to break out. Meta, Google, Microsoft as well. Tesla is coming down below into some support. Amazon inside, holding VWAP along with Apple. We'll see if NVIDIA actually breaks above, or it's now going to start selling off from the top of its opening range. Let's do a quick. 20s are coming into play again. I am going to mark out this opening range down this morning. I'm going to go manual. I'm going to go with like a darker blue. So the high we have 849s. We're about to be closing out that. And then the low is 771.75. And we will just bring this to 830. Here, sorry, 730. And then we'll drop down into our 5-minute chart. Actually, let's go with the 3. Let's go with the 3 this morning. All right, so tracking the 3 on that, and then also on the ES, 6509s are the highs. The lows are 6498 half. We'll just do the same. Try to find that dark blue. And we'll drop this guy down. We'll do the 3-minute on the ES as well. Just to keep them kind of lined up here. So keep in mind, you've got a gap up on both the ES and the NQ. To fill that gap, you got to get down to 670s on the NQ, and then 6480s on the ES. Might be actually looking for a short here. I'm watching the volatilities hold the low and potentially break above while we are setting ticks below 0. But we'll wait and see for an actual breaker. We could easily go up to the 900s and then start coming back down. We're already above the overnight open, or sorry, the overnight sessions for London and Asia. See if we can actually hold those, but we keep on coming down to this 20 level. So I might actually be looking for a short here. We'll just wait and see. The tick is just oscillating now on the 0, and nothing in terms of trends are being set. We're only 18 minutes into the open, but I think we could easily sweep down lower. We'll just wait and see. Keep an eye on our equities here. Russell and the Dow still selling off. I might actually just jump in here now. Grab another quick short. I want to see it pop up maybe in the 20s and 30s and grab it, but I might honestly, if I do that, I might just miss the move. So we'll see if this 9 EMAs are going to hold and give it some support. You got the ES also at the bottom of its opening range, and a lot of times these trade together. So this might be the bottom of the opening range for the ES holding. And at that point, the NQ could just start finding support. It's still oscillating around the 21 level. That's why I like to mark out those fair value gaps, the tops and the bottoms, to see if the bears can keep everything below the tops or the bulls can keep everything above the bottoms. And we've already clearly broken and stayed above the bottom of that fair value gap. Now we're just seeing if the bulls can hold the top of it, while also waiting for our 5-minute candle to close outside the range. Getting a bounce on the NQ, or sorry, on the Dow and the Russell. May actually be wanting to grab a long here. Looking at our indices, or sorry, our volatility measurements, these are staying below the bottom half, and we are getting into extremes on the buy side of the tick. So I took a little bit of a long there. It was down in the 40s. Let's see if we can continue to hold this, or if we're going to come right back down. Could easily come right back down and continue to chop, but seeing the four equities or four indices now kind of trade together, my bias may be shifting here to the long, so I'd like to see a breakout above. Already out of that position. We're still up though. Small little scalp. And I am keeping in mind that close, the gap from yesterday. Taking another look over here on our equities. NVIDIA is breaking out now. Apple's above, NVIDIA is above. Tesla's the only one actually below. Amazon is looking like it might break below. Meta's above VWAP. Microsoft as well. But you've got the Dow and the Russell still below their opening range. So they are on an orb short right now. The ES is below VWAP. Really, the NQ is the only indice that's really bullish. As you can see, we have a breaker candle going now. I would like to see the VIX actually go down. I don't like seeing the congruent action here. So I wouldn't be shocked if this is a false breakout, but the video could carry the market all the way up. I'm bringing us up to that prior day high, last week high level, up in the 900s. Could be a decent area for reversal in the short on the NQ. But we're not getting a ton of movement outside the ranges on the volatilities, so going to continue to sit and wait here. We may go revisit those 20s again on the NQ.
Lovin going into the S&P, Robinhood too, and inclusion still works when it comes to moving shares, although as Frank Holland pointed out this morning, Jim, Trade Desk and Block are actually down since their inclusion.
Right, but think about how this is an active index. Caesars was taken out, Enphase was taken out, and Market Access was taken out. So you get rid of some losers, put in some winners, you got some performance that can beat a lot of hedge funds.
Yeah, also Uber going into the S&P 100, replacing Charter. For now, though, Dow
Still holding above the opening range on the NQ. Maybe looking for a trade here to the long side. I'd like to see us stay above the tick on, in terms of the zero line, but could easily fade back down into the 21s. See if 50s hold. Yeah, it looks like we are getting some sellers now stepping in on the 50s. Haven't seen much turnaround in the Dow or the Russell yet, but we got a candle now closing above the breaker. It's a good sign for the bulls. I'm going to look for some longs here, maybe up into the mid 70s. If we can stay above the 50 range. Still a little hesitant. Here we go. A little bit of a push now. Up into the 60s. See if we can keep on climbing. I like the extremes that we're seeing here on the buy side, short-term sentiment on the tick. The ES is also bouncing off of the lows of its opening range. Going to continue to wait and see if we can hold this and get up into the mid 70s. We are long. Here we go. Looking for 75s.
Let's get to Jim and stop trading.
When an activist comes in, somewhere now, like
All right, we got one there.
I often think that it's
Soon get another long here
long and go stay long.
to continue up. We got seven. We got one tick below 75s, and now we're starting to see a sell off.
If I get it this hour,
Let's see if we can
just nothing new under the sun here.
hold that or not.
What happened to Trump?
And go all the way up to 23,900s, maybe even all the way up to 24s. But we're still inside on the volatilities. I would like to see those break below, but we're above zero on the tick, so it's still bullish action overall. There's your 75s finally tagging. I am sitting flat, just waiting. I took a couple wins, a couple losses. Overall, still green. Sizing down to just one mini. I'll go between 1 and 3. If you were going to start your trade now, though, based off this breaker, I would recommend looking at the 50s, depending on the count size you're trading and if you're doing minis or micros. You've got your breaker on the NQ. You don't have your breaker on the ES, but you could have certainly played a reversal off of the lows of its opening range. Still inside on the volatilities, though. We could certainly pull back into these 20s. I'm still going to keep that level up there. The Dow and the Russell are finally turning around a little bit.
Sweet green. I don't know if Kava thinks that it's right that I even mentioned sweet green in the same sentence, but
This looks like it wants to go to 900s.
restaurant business like you wouldn't.
I wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, you wouldn't, because people aren't.
Let's take a look back over at the equities here.
They're bad as hell. And
Microsoft, Nvidia are still above. Tesla is turning the corner. Amazon as well. I'd like to see the Dow and the Russell join in.
I still believe don't trust anybody who doesn't drink.
But for now, I'm sitting flat.
And where's the bow tie?
Jim, we'll see you tonight. Mad Money, 6 p.m. Eastern Time.
Go ahead and just add this down here at the bottom.
Apollo's chief economist Torsten Slok. Stay with us.
So a little bit of a mixed bag this morning, but overall sitting okay in terms of my trades. Some entries were not timed the best, but at this point we're tagging the opening range high. I'd be curious if we're going to hold this or break through, go back down to those 20s. I will look for some more scalps here just with one mini. But no breaks outside of the VIX. Still inside. And let's go ahead and look at the Qs. Qs are above VWAP. Continuing to trend higher up in the 580s. This may be where the sellers come back in and take us down into the 20s again. I would be hesitant myself to get bullish or to get bearish on the day and put in some shorts until see at least the VIX or the VXN above the midway point. If we're floating above the midway point, I'd be a little bit more comfortable on taking shorts along with the tick if that gets below zero. But if you look at the tick, the majority of this morning, all these are printing above zero. Very short term though, very short term. That's why I am a scalper. 1 minute is what I'm looking for. Sellers coming in on the ES, breaking down below VWAP. And now we're inside the opening range on the NQ. Mixed bag on the equities, it looks like. We're about 30 points from the current day's high on the NQ. There are your volatilities going into the upper half, at least on the ES, and your tick is below zero. The Dow and the Russell are still showing red. They are shaping up for 30-minute OTFs to the sell side. So is the ES. The ES is technically holding that fib zone. The fib zone to lows under the low targets under the prior day low at 64.30s. This does break below, but could find some support. We'll just wait and see. And Q is now holding on to the 9 EMA for the day. Still above overnight action though. You see the volatilities are starting to climb, climbing off their lows, going below zero. Here's the S&P printing below the opening range, below 6,500s. I'm still flat, just looking, maybe looking for another long here on the NQ. But with this happening, I'm going to be a little bit hesitant. Let's see if this can print red and come back down. Tick is negative 20. Gold and ADD are trending lower. We got really close to the top of that fair value gap again on the NQ. We might just be taking off here again. Gonna wait and watch. So I'm a little bit hesitant on either side. So staying flat.
Suggesting the dismissal of governors, pressuring the central bank to adopt a more permissive stance toward inflation, carries steep costs. These actions raise inflation expectations, increase market risk premiums, and weaken investor confidence in U.S. institutions. Guys, he goes on to say that he sort of compares what's been happening with emerging markets. He said, together, these developments highlight risks.
ES is still below VWAP. Another breaker potentially on the NQ.
Is actually one toward the administration, but also toward the investing community, which is prioritize credibility in U.S. institutions and U.S. financial markets, because he said the result is not pretty. He said the president is incentivized to prioritize credibility. The people are they should be prioritized to do so with credibility, because we've seen interest rates can rise, and that ultimately hurts everyone. He's not so specific in terms of, going after.
Still printing above zero on the tick. I'm going to be a little bit cautious either way if I'm going to go long here or short. Could certainly climb all the way up to 23.9s.
It's harder to get back.
Would not be shocked if that happens.
And a premium put on our debt.
Tesla and Amazon, though, they are selling off from
People
their
and government, and potentially the
current
administration.
ranges.
People
See,
could go back.
Tesla,
We looked at examples where
Amazon's tagging
things don't listen
the opening range
when
low,
they do
so is
listen to the White House, which pressures
Tesla
us
and
to lower
Amazon.
interest rates. So it's not
Nvidia's back inside the opening range from its high, so it's kind of sold off a little bit there. Maybe some profit taking. NQ and the Russell still below opening range breakout. Only one that's above is the NQ. NQ again going for another breaker.
No, I mean, I think you'll hear from what we hear from, and we heard this from a number of the bank CEOs around earnings time, which is Fed independence is sacred and sacrosanct.
Could have another false breakout though. I'm just watching the volatility.
Don't threaten.
We are on the lower half, so that does help the bulls for the NQ. For the ES, a little bit more shaped up for shorting, but
Doing more like quantitative easing,
still a mixed bag.
balance sheet tools that have gotten away from its credibility, he says, and its independence. At the heart of independence lies
Here
credibility.
comes those longs. So you have a breaker again on the NQ with some buying qualifying that breaker candle. Potentially going to go back up into the mid 70s.
Looking ahead, the Fed must scale back the distortions
I would like to see
in the economy.
a continued breakdown on the VIX and the VXN.
That go beyond the mandate.
Maybe grab another little short hold on a long scalp. Maybe not too long of a hold. This could certainly just fail right back down into the opening range.
When you look at the failure of Silicon Valley Bank.
There's an argument that the Fed's interest in climate might have overreached. On the other hand, Powell's been pretty clear about talking about, I think he calls them mortgage deserts, parts of the country where you can't get a mortgage anymore, and or certainly insurance because of threats to the environment along the coasts, in forests, rural areas. So that's a difficult one to square.
Yeah, and there has been this criticism.
Sorry, I'm going to mute the mic in case the TV is echoing.
Climate change or anything like that. But this one was more focused on just the Fed's, what the Fed has been more I don't think the Fed has been overly focused on climate change. I don't think that's influenced their monetary policy very much. I mean, maybe what you just said is an example. But the notion of QE and, buying assets and how they've used it after 2008, I mean, it gives us a clue into, we know Treasury Secretary Bessent is doing these interviews of the next Fed chair, gives us a clue into how, we've heard this kind of criticism of the Fed from Kevin Warsh, for instance, of balance sheet. David Zervos has been talking a lot about the balance sheet. I think it helps inform what those conversations are going to look like now they have begun the interview.
I'm going to do, let's see, a little bit of a mute on the TV. There we go. So I grabbed a little bit of a long scalp there again. Handful of scalps this morning. Took some losses. Overall, still positive on the day. I might call it for this morning. Just doing a quick time check. 8:08. We are about 40 minutes into the open. I've got about 20 minutes left that I'll stay on the mic, then I'll be getting off. Hope you guys are having a good day. If you are new to the YouTube stream, if you want to join the Discord, it's completely free. Head to orbtraders.com. You can join through the WAP link. Everything's free. There is nothing for sale, even once you get through. I will share my trade plans as often. I try every single day. The same thing. Make a trade plan. Go into the day. Look for a trade based on that plan. And I have variations. The conservative play would be traditional orbs, which we don't actually have a traditional at all today. Traditional for me is in the sense of the VIX or the VXN breaking the opposite direction, while the price on the 15-minute range, NQ or ES, is going to break in their direction. So say the ES breaks above, you'd see the VIX break below. If the NQ broke above, you'd see the VIX break below. Right now, it's a matter of if they're above or below their mid-range points. So because both of these are below their mid-range points, I would be looking for longs on both. I would not be looking for any shorts at all today. until we have a change on those volatilities, as well as consecutive prints below the zero line on the tick. We might be in a position where we can fade from these highs that have been set. We'll see if we can make another high though. And of course, we're looking at the other indices. The Dow and the Russell might now finally be trending around or turning the corner and changing their trend from their morning sell-offs for the first 40 minutes. And we may be going long on all indices. So yeah, I'm going to be very hesitant on any shorts. You got Google looking like it's going to break above Microsoft. NVIDIA's also above the opening range. SPY, let's look at the Qs. Qs are above opening range. And let's see, Tesla is still at the bottom of its opening range. Meta right below VWAP. Amazon is holding its lows. And Apple is looking like it's trying to break above VWAP and stay above and maybe go to the open range high, but we will just wait and see what happens. Still above overnight action for the NQ. Asia and London sessions are still above. You're pretty much inside that on the ES. Again, this is another reason why I've decided I'm making the NQ my primary instrument to trade for now on. I'm not going to deal with these tight ranges and as much chop as you can see. You could get lost in that or not and wait for an open range breakout. I've traded it for years, but I am finding daily goals are hitting a lot sooner in the morning, and because of the ranges, sure, there's two sides of that coin, but if you have a strategy and a plan and you're looking at internals and you're getting context behind your trades, generally you're building up a lot of the confluence to your trade that should result in higher win rates, more consistency, but make sure you're managing your trades as well. So 2 breakouts. The second one set a lower high, and now we're going back inside the opening range while you have the tick right at zero. Now it's breaking zero. So this would be a decent short if we can continue to break above on these volatilities, which the ES just did, and it's holding on the mid-range. Let's see if that continues or if that is just a minor sell-off, take profit, where we are just doing a quick retrace and going to continue to climb. So a lot of this, what you're seeing is short-term, very short-term sentiment. So you got to be very mindful and on your toes. Oops. I don't know why the color changed. Let's go back. There we go. I think I'm pretty much set for the morning myself, though. I don't want to push it too hard. Overall, we don't have a full trend set. Bulls are still winning the day on the NQ. I mean, you've got your gap up from Friday's close. You're above overnight action. If we can get some strong volume coming in here for sellers, it would be a really nice play to fade this into the gap and close that gap. ES is just in Chopville. I'll go ahead and turn the news back on. I'll get off the mic here.
One parallel, of course, also which is the fiber optics cables that was, of course, also took some years, but this was also just like the data center discussion, a debate around, have we done too much? Is the sky the limit? All this chart book is pointing out is that the concentration in the S&P 500 in the AI story is very, very strong, and investors should take note and therefore begin to think about, am I too overexposed towards the AI story?
It's a good gut check, Torsten. Look forward to checking in with you after some of these prints, important numbers later in the week. Thanks so much, Torsten Slot.
Thank you.
Just over 30 minutes here into the trading session. Here are three big movers we're watching right now. Gold prices hitting more record highs, breaking through the 3,600 level, now up nearly 40% on the year. Amazing climb there. Summit Therapeutics is plunging after disappointing results from its lung cancer drug. And then we're also watching shares of Robinhood, AppLovin, and MCore on the move on news that they are joining the S&P 500 later this month, replacing Market Access, Enphase Energy, and Caesars Entertainment. Look at Robinhood, up 13.5%. Here's our roadmap for you for the rest of the hour. After the break, will Apple deliver for shareholders at tomorrow's big hardware event? We'll talk to one expert who says this week could be the start of a new growth cycle for the company.
Plus, many of the shares of big telecom providers pulling back as EchoStar shares shoot higher. This after that agreement with Elon Musk's SpaceX to buy an awful lot of spectrum to help Starlink. We'll have more on that.
And Rockefeller's Ruchir Sharma says it's exactly the wrong time for the Fed to cut rates. He'll join us to explain why as a big hour squawk on the street continues after this.
Trying to pull up my trades for the day. I figured this would be easier to do with TradeZella. Let's see. I don't know why it doesn't show all these though. It's kind of annoying. Is there not a way to show this? Yeah. So let's see. This morning, oh, that was before market open. $3.10. I don't know what that was. Was this that test for the overnight high to break? That might have been what that was. Obviously, I didn't hold that very long. And then took that long before the 50-minute range. A couple other longs. I don't know why they don't actually show the... Oh, here we go. Ah, very nice. Okay. So went long a little bit early, got stopped out. It would have been nice to obviously just hold that. What else we got here? So we took that loss, right? Came back into the trade. This must have been the other long. Yeah. So basically after that loss, I re-entered. Those positions, I guess, could technically cancel each other out in a way. They're pretty close to each other. My bias was long the whole time. Still liking the range though on the NQ. It's really easy to correct your mistakes with as much range as you're getting. But now we are getting some selling on all of the indices. Dow is holding a little bit actually, but back inside the opening range, tagging the lows of the ES on the day. Mid-range point is around 800s, 810s on the NQs. See if those continue to hold. I'm probably going to call it for myself though.
For 18.
Welcome back. Tech sector getting a boost in early trading, up more than 1%. The semis, a lot of attention this week and last week. Broadcom and NVIDIA moving in opposite directions. Broadcom getting another boost today. It's up 5% after last week's jump on strong results and news of the deal with OpenAI. NVIDIA gaining back some ground today after lagging last week and cracking below its 50-day moving average technical level there. Focus this week turns to Apple and a key product announcement tomorrow, expecting a new suite of iPhone 17 models and potentially some other hardware announcements as well.
Yeah, let's get more on what to expect from Apple tomorrow. Bring in Melius Research, Head of Technology Research. Ben Reitzes joins us on set. All right, we've been focused on Apple around tariffs for obvious reasons. Is this going to reset it in terms of focus perhaps on new products?
Yeah, I think so. I think that the tariffs are largely behind us, I hope. I mean, you never know. There's a but we think that we're really bullish on Apple right now. The stock's underperformed. We think it's going to catch up. We said our target of 260 is very conservative. And what we like about the products we're going to hear tomorrow is they're maybe higher priced, and then finally a new model that people can get excited about. And we think that that will replace the Plus model, which then kind of mixes people up. So I think everybody's looking for iPhone growth. So if you get higher ASPs and we get some unit growth and the production data is not looking so bad, then the stock can work. So hopefully it's back to normal and back to good things. And not only that, David, I think there's new products next year with a foldable and then an iPhone 20. So we could have 3 to 5 years of new iPhones.
How much is a foldable going to cost?
I think it's like 120% price increase. And I think you're going to buy one, Sarah.
Why? Why do I need a foldable phone?
You'll pay over time.
Do they come in pink?
You'll be able to fold it and watch TV. It'll be great.
When's the last time people got excited about a new products from Apple? I mean, I can remember us gushing around the Vision Pro for a period of time, but that didn't really do much.
Yeah. I know. I just saw Jim in the hall and about the Vision Pro. But, in all seriousness, I think that iPhone is not replaceable. They're not losing share. It is not, we haven't replaced it yet. It's not a pendant. It's not something else. And they have a really good pipeline of product coming on the iPhone. The other thing, too, is they will have probably a home hub. If they can fix Siri, there's also cameras and AirPods coming, which may be a little bit cooler than wearing glasses and than having, an AI device that has cameras on your ears instead of your eyes might actually work. So that's coming within a few years. So give it a shot.
So Johnny Ive's working on something for Apple.
Yeah.
OpenAI, though. You never know, right?
You never know. You never know.
Do you think the narrative has flipped to where it's now Cook is actually his measured enthusiasm on AI is now going to be the smart move?
Yeah, I think so. I think that Apple's a toll road to AI glory for either Apple or someone else, and they're going to get paid for it. I think that digital real estate, as long as it's valuable, they're going to get paid for it. So I think that people overreacted a bit to that, and I think that at the end of the day, they're going to monetize their screen, and I think the judge's ruling that we saw recently, and we wrote about it, was a step in the right direction for people refocusing on, hey, wait, that real estate's worth something. If they're not losing share, let's level set here. Are we making a big deal about Siri when it's really nothing? And so they're a little late. Move on, people.
Right. The other big story, of course, is NVIDIA and Broadcom last week, and this notion that the AI trade is incrementally getting less homogenous.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Well, Broadcom should be in the Mag 8. We should be calling it Mag 8. We should be talking about this company going to multiple trillions. Hock Tan has done a great job. He's also got a great number 2 in this guy named Charlie Kawas, who's just sensational and doesn't get enough credit as well. And this company is firing on all cylinders. The way they engage with people for custom silicon is very special. We see revenues in multiple hundreds of billions for Broadcom by the end of the decade, 400 or 500 billion, and the stock could be very much higher. Our target's 415, and that could even be conservative. They are the choice for custom silicon.
Yeah, I mean, at $1.6+ trillion value, so you're right when you say that. Soon to approach potentially if it continues Meta's market value. So right up there, and they have typically grown through acquisition as well as organically. I mean, Hock Tan has been very aggressive. Is there another deal to be done for this company, particularly given the strong performance of its stock, that it could conceivably use as currency?
Well, they're still growing a lot in VMware. They've moved everybody to a higher price subscription, and it's sort of waterfalling into the model and normalizing maybe in a year or two. But I think they're really focused on AI right now, and I wouldn't think of them as a roll-up play as much as I would think of this just exploding AI number with a potential for 100% growth next year and the year after. But I do want to say this. I still think you can own NVIDIA because I think the TAM's really huge.
I was going to ask if it comes at the expense of NVIDIA as the market's telling you a little bit.
I think that whenever you see something like this Broadcom call was so bullish. Like I had to really brace myself on my chair, and I was like, oh my God, is he saying this? Is he saying that? And then, and I think that the numbers got so big that the natural reaction is to freak out about NVIDIA. But I think that Jensen and Hock together see something, and Jensen is the undisputed leader. He just raised his TAM to at least $2 trillion for compute networking by the end of the decade, and $3 to $4 trillion in terms of overall data center capex. And he's seeing something that the street isn't even seeing. And then Hock's numbers are so big that he's seeing something. So I know there's some talk about AI slowing up. I don't think that's happening, guys. I think if anything, we'll have hiccups here and there, but we're still going. These guys are seeing something so big. In fact, if the market's $2 trillion by the end of the decade, what's NVIDIA's revenue going to be? I mean, they're getting 2/3 of that TAM right now. Even if their share goes down to 40%, 30%, it's over $600 billion. That's a double from here probably. So I think both can win. I think when things settle down, we'll see NVIDIA's just fine.
The hyperscalers keep spending, and so does everybody else. OpenAI, I mean, the spending, as I made the point earlier, has not in any way diminished, right? Correct? I mean, that's what I'm seeing. I assume you're seeing the same.
I mean, unless Jensen and Hock, the two best CEOs like in the world, well, Tim Cook's pretty good. I mean, he's underrated, but I will say that these guys just really were bullish about the AI spend. It was like Jensen saw something. He's saying a 50% CAGR for the rest of the year in CapEx. The build numbers we're seeing for even OpenAI is insane.
Enormous.
I mean, they better be able to raise the money. I think the main thing, David, to worry about is, can guys raise the money?
Yep.
Anthropic just did. By the way, they're going to funnel that right into $13 billion. Where do you think that's going? That's all going into their cloud partners and chips.
Without a doubt.
And if they can raise money, and then Power. Look at Power. We just had a colleague launch Power, James West. We're working very closely with him. We wrote a big report today, put a lot of his work in there about how Power is a potential bottleneck. But
we've talked about, would-be populist backlash to AI's consumption. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it could be. I mean, we did have higher rates in New York, right? I mean, nobody wants that. But look, I think that Power is the thing we should be looking at as, hey, Jensen, Hock saying these big numbers. Let's go. I mean, assuming capital markets can raise the money, let's squeeze a lot out of these.
All right, folks. I think that's going to do it for me today. I will keep the stream up here, lock into my daily profits, and I will look for another trade plan post. So I'll probably get that up when the market closes. We may be going for another breaker on the long side for continued targets above. ES and NQ are turning around, holding those lows, holding the opening range mid on the the NQ, and holding. Well, actually, I wonder if this is set wrong. Holding the lows on the ES. We went down into the mid-teens on 23,800s. Clearly had a reversal there. Oh, I guess actually this was what's the low here? 806 and a quarter. So 806 and a quarter held. And then you can look over at the ES what happened once this was holding. The breaker below started to hold. If this actually closes above, I'm going to call it just the entire opening range. I'll take off this fib draw. Fib draw, again, if shorts were to come into play, is well below the prior day low, which is almost 40, 50 points down there. So it could happen today. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not really sure. I'm not going to stick around to find out. I'll just find out later on. I'm going to switch over to regular work, but I would keep an eye here if we can break and close above while these volatilities continue to come back down lower. This would be your traditional orb trade. You have a candle closing below on the VIX. You have the tick above zero, nearing extremes, and you have a candle breaking above, but you would want to see another candle. Clearly, the ES has less of a range than the NQ, so it's a little bit harder in terms of getting that qualifier as your entry. So say we had it up here, this closes out, and then using the stop loss. A little bit harder depending on the accounts you're trading if you use the breaker low. So you may need to drop that down into a shorter time frame, use the top of the opening range high, or just take off some of your risk. You know, you don't have to go in with one mini. Depends on whatever contracts and accounts you're trading. I'm trading 150K accounts. So anywhere from 1 to 3 minis for myself. I feel comfortable trading those. But yeah, it looks like the third attempt on this breaker could see some continuation up to the 900s. That's 40 points above. That would be a pretty nice entry there. There are definitely feelings in my brain right now that are, or thoughts in my brain that are saying, go ahead and take this. Here's your qualifier coming in after that breaker. And you have a candle closing now below the opening range on the VXN, giving this a qualifying buy. Pretty solid buy right now if you are to jump in. You're above the zeros, and I would just be looking, like for myself, if I go in with one mini, I'm going in on a bracket order, -40 plus 40. That is, what is that, 10 points? And when I say -40, I'm saying ticks. And your TPs, if you're using the opening range breakout indicator and Thinkorswim, you've got TP1 at 887s, TP2 at 926s. That indicator is totally free. Just Google TI opening range breakout. You can add their indicators into your platform. Or just go ahead and grab the charts and the grids that I share. They should include all the levels and the indicators. But that's going to do it for me. We're 1 hour in. 1 hour in also means you've got your initial balance high and low that you can go ahead and plot. Still trading above the Asia and London sessions on the NQ. The ES is now starting to break that. So I am going to actually take this fib draw out. Just to clean it up a little bit there. So I would, again, not be looking for any shorts right now, especially when you got Amazon and NVIDIA trending up. Microsoft is now breaking above. Amazon's breaking above. NVIDIA is taking another stab. Qs are above. If you look at the SPYs, those are about to break above. Google is lagging. Apple is lagging, as well as Tesla. But I don't have Broadcom up here, but yeah, looks like another orb long. Third attempt on the 3 minute. If you want to go out to the 5 minute, I'll just show this really quick before I jump off. This is attempt number 3. Looking like a very good bullish candle there on the 5 minute. Holding the top of the fair value gap, holding that open range midpoint while you have continued action lower on your volatilities. If you are short, I would be very hesitant on holding that short and maybe potentially looking for exits. Unless if you're trying to fade the high of the day, I would just be very hesitant on how much you're putting on. It could be a good play to fade the high of the day. Looks like 70s, 80s are still showing quite a bit of sellers up there. Just keep an eye on your internals. If you look at the tick here, you're still well above the zero line. The sell-off of that qualifier could simply just be profit taking. And again, make sure you're adjusting whatever contracts and accounts you're using to not over leverage. You know, just because you get a breaker, it doesn't mean it's going to go. As you can tell, the volatilities, again, these are short term. These are only 1 minutes. You want to see a good trend get set. Even further continuation, lower and lower and lower, which you could get. And even right now, maybe right now is a good time for you to enter long here. The Dow and the Russell are certainly turning around and joining in on the buying that the ES and the NQ have been showing. The NQ has been the bull, the more aggressive bull this morning. So if anything, maybe the ES would actually be a safer long here compared to the NQ, but I think that's going to do it for me. My yapping. I will, again, put the trade plan out for my levels tomorrow or later on this afternoon. And we'll see you guys later. Hope you have a good day.
For certain. Welcome back. In a piece in the Financial Times, our next guest makes the case for why it is exactly the wrong time for the Fed to be cutting interest rates. Ruchir Sharma, chairman of Rockefeller International, joins us now. What a party pooper, Ruchir. Everybody is getting excited about this rate cut next week.
Well, the rate cut is going to happen anyway. But I just want to put this in perspective, Sarah, which is that the Fed has never cut interest rates, let alone start an easing cycle, when financial conditions have been this easy. Typically, the Fed is known to cut interest rates when the stock market's falling, credit spreads are widening, there's some financial market dislocation. This time we got credit spreads close to record lows. The stock market's obviously very ebullient given the valuations. We have an AI mania building up as far as the market's concerned. And in this environment, for the Fed to be cutting interest rates would be pretty just cut
Thank you.